residents or prospective residents in the Netherlands and their relatives or dependents. Our guest today will be lawyer Fadama, Fadama Kilic, who is an immigration lawyer from the Kilic Advocaten here in the city, the great city of Amsterdam. Now, I would like to say a big welcome to you, Lawyer Kilic.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning. I would like to start by asking you to tell our listening community what has been the most significant changes in the EU and Dutch immigration laws this year.
Well, the most significant, I think, in the context of the Dutch immigration change is the change of the 1st of October this year.
Yeah.
Namely, the change that partners who want to live together, it will not be possible anymore for them to get the stay permit. So they have to get married first. And only after a marriage it's possible to get a stay permit.
They have to marry here or
that doesn't
outside?
matter, as long as it is a legal marriage. So it could also be like a Ghanaian customary marriage. That's also legal according to the law of of the country.
Yeah.
So as long as it is a legal marriage or a registered partnership, it is accepted. But living together is not possible anymore.
What's the difference between registered partnership and living together?
The difference is that the registered partnership is also official. It's a legal commitment, just as the marriage.
Yeah.
But the difference between a marriage and a registered partnership is that it's not accepted in all the countries. Not every country in the world accepts a registered partnership. It's actually a new liberal concept, the registered partnership. In the past it didn't exist. In countries it started like making it possible for the same sexes to get married.
Yeah.
And that was in the form of the registered partnership possible, so that's why that's introduced in the law, I think in the Netherlands maybe 10 or 20 years ago.
Registered partnership, it sounds like a business, something. Who may get into registered partnership? Is it same sexes or different sexes, and what will be the purpose of that partnership?
Well, actually, there is no difference. In the Netherlands, there is legally no difference between the registered partnership and the marriage. It's actually easier to get the registered partnership dissolved. That's why people choose for that, or maybe there can also be other reasons, maybe in the way of the taxes or other agreements you can make with the registered partnership. The marriage is it's actually a stronger commitment, and it's accepted in the whole world.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so if somebody or if two people get into a registered partnership here, and they travel to, let's say, America, they may not be recognized as registered partners. Is that what you're saying?
It depends. It depends. Maybe America is recognized. I think America is recognizing us, but maybe Zimbabwe isn't. So
won't recognize that. Okay. So that is the main change here. So you're saying marriages, you can only marry, and then you can through that you can have your status legalized, but not through living together or registered partnership.
Exactly. There's just one major change in law. And your question was, what are the major changes? If we look at, of course, the general development is that it's getting more and more restricted. So also getting your own independent stay permit after coming to the Netherlands to stay with partner or work. It's more and more difficult to get your own stay permit, independent stay permit. For now you have to live together with your partner for 5 years. In the past it was 3 years. They wanted to change that to 7 years, also to get the Dutch nationality. That's in the new cabinet plans. It's like one of the aspects they're talking about. The other tendency we see is on the European level also, that they want to make bigger effort to send people back who are not legally here or who have committed a crime in the Netherlands. Even if it's a very small crime, it will be much easier to send people back. Even if they have the Dutch nationality, the law makes some possibilities to pull back the Dutch nationality and send.
Wow. Now, so can you explain to us the difference between the EU and the Dutch immigration law, the standpoints on that, based on the rights of the EU citizen to take a partner?
Okay. I think you know that EU citizens in the whole European Union, they have the free right to settle in any other EU country where they want. They have the same rights, in some possibilities even more rights than the own citizens in the country. This means like EU citizens who come and live in the Netherlands, they have at some aspects more rights, more privileges.
Than the natives here.
Exactly, and on the basis of immigration law, this is more often the case. Like if you are the partner of an EU citizen, you don't have to go back to your home country to apply for an MVV to get the stay permit. It's much easier, and also the income requirements are not allowed. So as a partner of an EU citizen, you have much more rights as the partner of a Dutch citizen, and the stay permit is actually by law already enforced at the moment you live together. That's what the EU law says. You have to have the same status as the partner, you know, as the EU citizen partner, itself. The only condition is that you have to have a relationship, and you have to prove that you have a relationship. And this makes the case quite interesting in the judicial part. Because the standpoint of the IND at the moment is that you first have to live together for 6 months before they will accept you having a relationship. With a serious relationship with your partner. Now that's very difficult to prove that you live together for 6 months, because if you don't have a stay permit, you cannot get a registration, and you cannot prove that you live together with your partner. So it makes things very different. And there are some cases now on the highest court level making clarity on this point, because the Dutch immigration service is not giving us the required clearance. Exactly.
Wow. Okay. So, but it's good to know that any EU citizen has a right to take on a partner and then through that get a residential status.
Yes.
But then the citizen, if I'm correct, if I'm wrong, that EU citizen has to apply for that, not in his own country but another EU country. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's how it works.
For example, there is a Belgian citizen who wants to come to the Netherlands, live in the Netherlands, and work in the Netherlands. He comes, registers, starts working. He's the EU status. He met someone here who is, let's say, from another country. Let's say from Ghana. They want to live together. They do start living together, and then the let's say the Ghanaian citizen has to register also at the gemeente on the same address, and then starts the stay permit procedure to stay with the EU partner. And then it comes to the point to prove that they really have a relationship. And there are a lot of things to prove, of course, but the IND actually only accepts the registration at the city hall, and actually the marriage would be the strongest evidence, but people don't want to get married in a very early stage in their relationship. So for EU citizens and their partners, it's still possible to live together, different than Dutch partners and citizens. But they still, even if they live together, they have to prove that they are living together. And the IND is very active doing this research by going to their places where they live to check if they really live together, and inviting them for IND hearings, and asking a lot of proof that they really, that they really are having a relationship.
Wow. Okay. Now, in what way is the Dutch policy contrary to the EU laws, which says that they have equal right like their partner who is a EU citizen? That is the partner who is trying to come join to the EU citizen. Now the EU has, you've just given us an EU standpoint, but the Dutch the Dutch laws apparently has a different standpoint, or doesn't really.
In some cases there is this EU directive who is dealing with the rights of EU citizens and their family members. In that EU directive, it's very clearly mentioned that husbands, wives, children up to 21 years old, and some other family members, they have the equal rights as the EU citizen itself, even if they're not EU citizens for the partner.
Oh, so you're saying if someone has a child, daughter or son who is up to 21, they have the same rights as the parent, and if the child doesn't live here?
Well, then it's not relevant, of course, because...
but as long as they live here, they have the same rights.
Or if you want to invite to come, to let your child come to the Netherlands, then the rights will live.
Okay, so the Dutch standpoint is different from the EU standpoint?
Yeah, in some aspects it is,
Okay. Now, how does that, frustrate someone who's trying to regularize his?
Well, it's very difficult because what kinds of situations exist with this is like people who really live together for years and years, and they cannot, get their rights, so they cannot work, they cannot, start their living and look at their future because they're frustrated with this whole process and only getting like stickers in their passports without the possibility to work, and that makes cases very difficult, and it risks the relationship, of course, because of all this tendency.
So what are the possibilities to remedy the situation for those who are trapped by this apparent conflict in the law, the interpretation of the law? What can people do?
I think the only possibility is to proceed, because if there is a negative decision from the IND saying that they don't believe the relationship, or they don't believe it's a serious relationship, the only thing they can do is appeal against that decision at the IND or the court afterwards, or the High Court, to prove that they really have a relationship and they have the right to stay in the Netherlands according to the EU law. And the Dutch immigration, or the whole actually judicial system, is like the international law has a higher priority than the Dutch law. So the Netherlands always have to respect the European law and the international law. That's why we also, let's say, use the European Convention of Human Rights in our cases, in our procedures, when we are trying to protect human like family life, because we think Dutch government doesn't always respect the family life. So that's why we use European court decisions, because we want to change the Dutch policy more in accordance with the European courts.
Yes.
Wow. That's awesome.
Wow.
That's awesome. Well, if you're listening to this program and you have a question or reaction to what we are saying, specifically if you have a question for Lawyer Kilic regarding any situation you are in, or or you want to clarification about, give us a call on 020-737-1619. As you know, these immigration laws are very complicated and not so easy to understand. So you might want to have take this opportunity to clarify any issue for yourself. Okay, let's try to take this call. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
I have a question here. If somebody is on a way or way pay or half, in other words, he worked before, but now he's out of job and they are giving him some money to live. And then he wants to marry. Is it possible that person can marry?
Okay, I understand the question. The rule is, if you want to ask your partner to join you in the Netherlands, that you have to earn sufficient money. So you cannot be a judicial burden on the Dutch government. So if you have like social money, it's not possible to ask your partner to join you. There are some exceptions, namely for people who cannot work because of their health situation. So if you have a via-uitkering, so if you can prove that you are for 100% sick, and you're not able to work, you couldn't work for the last year and you cannot work for the coming year, then that's the exception, so the income will not be a problem for you. Even if you have the WWB, so the social dienst, the bijstandsuitkering, even then it's possible, because in that case you have to prove that you couldn't work, or you couldn't work for the last 5 years because of your health situation, and the WWB is saying that you cannot work for the coming year again. So even in that case there is a possibility to get the exception for the income rule. And the third possibility is if you get the WW-uitkering, because the WW-uitkering is not a burden of the Dutch economic systems. It's your insurance, it's your own right. So that's why if you have the WW-uitkering you can use it, but you can use it as an income, but they are looking at the height of the income. When you are sick, they're not looking at the height of your income, but if you get the WW-uitkering, you have to get the uitkering for like 1,450 euros bruto. 1,450.
450.
That's the same. Yeah, that's the same account you have to earn when you are working.
Wow.
It's a bruto account.
Okay, beautiful. Thanks for that question.
And to add, also in that case, if you get the WW-uitkering, it has to be for at least 1 year. So that's the guarantee for the future.
Okay.
Because if you get the letter from the UWV, the toekenningsbeslissing,
Yeah.
it's mentioned that you will get this amount for this kind of period.
Yeah.
So people should keep that in
mind as well.
Mind. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I hope that settled the question. If you have further questions, please go ahead and give us a call. Now, let's talk about the latest changes in since October 1st in the MVV procedures. The MVV, that's the authorization for temporary stay. Tell us about the changes in this respect regard to family reunion.
Yes.
Yeah.
The changes is that the income is at this moment 1,450. We just talked about that. And the marriage is the only possibility, or the registered partnership is the only possibility to come to the Netherlands. We still have the language test as a requirement before you can get the MVV.
Okay.
And there's one part which is a new development. We're now already talking about all the new developments, and I want to mention this.
Yeah.
And this is the issue about the fee.
Which fee is that?
The fee to get the
MVV.
The Dutch government gets a lot of critiques on European and international level because it's the only country in the whole EU who has this kind of inappropriate fee levels.
Yes.
You have to pay 1,250 euros.
Wow.
1,250 euros to get the MVV. That's the fee for the MVV.
Wow.
Even if you ask a stay permit in the Netherlands, let's say you want to stay with your child or another purpose, you have to pay the same amount.
That's a lot.
Wow.
Let's say you have a family, you have a wife and 3 children you want to bring to the Netherlands, then you have to pay for every second family member 250 extra. So it's a lot of money, and people cannot start with this whole procedure because of these high amounts of the fee. You know, it's a burden.
It is a burden, but why is if the EU rules supersede the one of the Netherlands? Why is nothing being done to superimpose that one on the Dutch law?
Actually, on the European level, there is not an amount mentioned. They have left this to countries. But what you can read in all those EU conventions is that a country should make it possible for family members to reunify in a country.
Yes.
With this kind of financial burden, they make it impossible for family members. Maybe someone has to save for more than 1 or 2 years to get this money together. Because also for the language test, it's 350 euros people have to pay. So in total, it's a lot of money. And regarding the development in this area, the highest Dutch court, the Raad van State, decided like 2 weeks ago that this kind of fee is not in accordance with EU law.
Yes.
So the Dutch government already got this critique from the highest court in the Netherlands, and now they're working to change this fee system. So my expectation is they will change it. It will not be the same as EU partners, I think. That's around 40 euros. But it will be, I think, more the same as people who come here from another EU country. They have to pay around 250 euros. So they will decrease it for sure. That's my expectation. And it will, I think, within maybe a few weeks' time, we will have more clarity about it. And the most important thing for our listeners now is if they are in this kind of procedures already, and they will have a decision before the new law will come, it would be a shame, of course, because they already paid for the money. So let them all write a letter to the IND, telling the IND they want the money back. Because then they are in process and they can go to fight to get the money back by court.
Are they getting all the money back or part of the money back?
Parts.
Or part of the money back?
Because it will not be for free, I think. I think the Dutch government will decide people have to pay an amount, but it will not be the same as it is at the moment.
Right now.
12.50.
That's a good advice. Well, so you can take advantage of this information you're getting right now.
Wow.
Maybe you can get a refund and feel happy.
Yes, please.
Okay. So what about the change in the MVV procedure affecting minors who want to have a legal stay? And by this, do we mean minors who are here already or minors who are outside of
Well,
the
actually,
country?
there's no big changes for those stay permit requests. There has been a change in law a few years ago that minors who are already living in the Netherlands under
Yeah.
certain circumstances
Yes.
can get the stay permit to stay with their parents, so they don't have to go back,
Wonderful.
especially if they're born
Like
here.
is it Maru? The Maru?
Yeah, well, that's an asylum case.
That's
It's
an
very
asylum case. That's
different.
different.
Actually,
Oh, okay.
most news in the immigration law which come in the news is asylum, so it's not really related to
Okay.
the most of the immigration cases.
Yeah, yeah.
But
yeah,
still, it is easier for minor children to get a stay permit without the MDV. And the rules changed in this aspect is more for third line family members, like nieces, nephews. For them, it's difficult.
Hello, good morning.
Original.
Yes.
Yeah,
Go ahead, sir.
if somebody happen to be on holiday in Africa or whatever,
Yeah.
and he make a kid, he have a baby,
Yeah.
what happens to the baby and the mother?
Okay.
Yeah.
Good question. Thank you.
If you have a relationship with the mother, it depends what you want actually. If you want the mother, which is the mother of your child, is also your partner, you can get you can invite them to come to the Netherlands to live with you.
Yeah.
If it's only the
But
child.
do you have to would they have to, like, say, get married customarily or
This
arrange
one,
something like
yeah.
that? Or they just come because,
Yeah.
okay, they have a biological connection?
Well, I told about the new law from the 1st of October.
Yes,
So
yes.
from that moment, yeah, now they have to get married. And I have to say that I expect that this law will change also. Because the Netherlands was actually the fighter on the European level to get this liberal possibility to live together. And now they are standing on a point where they
changing
defend-
their position again.
So they're not acting very reliable.
Wow.
With this new cabinet, I think they will change this law again and make it possible again to get to have the living together possibility.
I see.
But at this moment, to answer the question, if the person in question wants to invite the mother and the child together to come to the Netherlands, they have to get married first. They have to fulfill the income criteria, and the partner has to do the language test, and then it's possible.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, madam.
Hello, please, my name is Faith.
Faith, eh?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead with your question.
Question. Please, I'm receiving WAO.
We are okay.
Yeah, for at least about 10 years.
Okay.
Little bit sick. I'm having I think 80%
You having what?
80 to 100%.
Okay.
Okay.
I have married in Africa,
Yeah.
and I want to bring my husband here.
Okay.
But unfortunately, my man is illiterate.
Okay.
He can't read and then he can't write. He can understand the English and then read, but he can speak it good, understand it and speak it good. But concerning writing and then reading, it's not good.
Okay.
So my problem is that he can't go for that test by
The test.
himself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to know the possibilities that he has.
Yeah.
That's
I
a nice
understand
question.
the
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah, this question appears more often since they invented the language test before coming to the Netherlands. It's a very difficult situation for a lot of people who are illiterate. The Dutch law doesn't give the exception for people who are illiterate, so even they have to pass the language test.
Wow.
The only possibility is to ask for exception through the embassy of their own country.
Okay.
There is this possibility to ask exception for the language test.
Okay.
Mostly it's only accepted on base of medical reasons.
Okay.
So I don't know if the illiteracy itself will not be a reason to accept this exception possibility.
Yeah.
But if that's in combination with a medical reason,
condition.
then they can succeed in the request.
Wow, that's a good point.
Yeah, it's very tough.
But it's not possible to get that.
So the next question, I hope, Sister Faith, that your question was answered. Otherwise, you can call back with more clarification. the next question is, why is it not possible any longer for those who are living together to enjoy the derived benefit from an EU partner? I don't know whether we answered this already.
Once again,
why is it not possible any longer for those who are living together to enjoy the derived benefit, like a derived status? Let's say if I'm legal, then my child should have
yes,
the derivative status, something like that,
yes,
from me.
yeah.
But is it still possible to do that? My question is it not? Why is it not more possible?
I don't understand the question. I mean, if you are Dutch and you have a child,
Dutch, yeah. Who maybe who's not, who hasn't got a Dutch status?
yes, if you are Dutch and the child is born
outside, maybe outside.
It doesn't matter if you recognized your child.
Yes.
Then the child will get Dutch automatically by law.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you are only having a stay permit here and you know there's a child born, the child will get the status. The opposite position is actually more interesting. Let's say you have a child.
Yes.
There is a mother who is Dutch and the
Yes.
child is born from the Dutch
father
mother,
is
so the child is also Dutch. But you don't have a stay permit. You are not legal in the Netherlands,
Yes.
and you don't have a relationship with the mother. It happens sometimes. You get a child.
Yes.
It's your child, but
Right.
the mother, the relationship doesn't work out,
Yes.
and
Yes,
she
yes.
doesn't want to help you to get your stay permit. You know, that situation happens.
Yes.
So in that case, you have a Dutch child in the Netherlands, and
Yeah.
you are not legally staying in the Netherlands, but the situation happens.
Yes.
Doesn't the child have the right
Yes.
to be together with the mother and the father?
Yes.
Exactly. So it's in the benefit of the child to ask for a stay permit
Yes.
as a father to stay with your child. So there are
Absolutely.
some possibilities. The IND is making it very difficult for us,
Yes.
but also in this kind of cases, the European Court decisions gives us more strength.
Wow.
Because the European Court says the child is Dutch, at the same time she's an EU citizen.
Yes.
So that's why we should look at the case as a child who has all the liberal rights in the country, and one of the rights is to have the father and the mother close to herself.
Wow.
We have seen a case where a child was born here, but for a long time was denied his status.
Till now.
Okay.
I don't know whether it's changed now, but the child was born here.
Yes.
For a long time they didn't have.
Yeah, but what was the reason? The father or the mother?
The mother
Was illegal or
wasn't
undocumented,
legal then.
yes.
Yeah.
The father also, yes.
Oh, okay.
Father also,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, that makes the case difficult, of course. If you have two parents who both are not legally in the Netherlands, it makes your case very difficult, because then what the IND will say is, okay, you want to stay here as a minor child, but your father and mother doesn't have the right to stay here. So you can, all three of you can go back to your home country, and it will not affect your family life. That's their argument. With regard to the other case, Pastor, the father who wants to stay with the Dutch child, I just explained that there is by law a possibility
for that.
But it should be prepared very carefully. Very carefully. There should be omgangsregeling. You should see your child at least a few times a week. There should be a very tight connection between you and the child. There should be a custody over your child, and the recognition should be arranged. So with a lot of arrangement and preparation, there are some possibilities.
Wow, that's good to know. Okay, well, we'll take one more question and then a very short break. So formally, people whose stay permit are tied to their partner or spouse gets the independence after 5 to 3 years. Now you're saying that has changed to 5 years.
Yes.
Okay. So what are the possibilities now of getting a permit to stay with your Dutch child in the Netherlands? I think we already spoke, we mentioned that also. Okay. Well, I think we should take a short break and then we'll come back to finish that.
Okay.
Well, we hope that we have tried to clear a few issues on your minds, a few questions. As you know, the best way to be on top is to keep up to date with current information. We are grateful to our lawyers for being willing to leave their chambers and to be coming to the studio to talk to us, to help us get updated. So, if you have any further questions, you can do that. We have about 5 to 10 minutes to finish the program, and you are welcome to come back and give us your question. The lawyer is still here. In the rest of time, give us a quick update, please.
Yeah. Well, today the new cabinet is
inaugurated.
Probably, yeah, it's a fact. And they have introduced the new cabinet plans, also in the case of immigration law.
Yeah.
When we look at the immigration plans, that's I think like 20 new aspects they want to point out.
Wow.
It's all restriction. Only almost all of them are restrictions in immigration law. So they're making it, very tough for us, to get the stay permits issued in the Netherlands and all those kind of things. The general tendency is on the criminal aspects.
Yeah.
They want to make it a crime if you are staying in the Netherlands without a stay permit. Actually, it is already a crime, and they can put people in jail because of the fact they're staying here illegally. And if they are sent back, they want it not possible for those people anymore to come back in the Netherlands for the coming years. So there are a lot of disturbing developments on this aspect. And also,
but if I may ask, is it that we don't have people, maybe legal people, who can speak for us? Because if the government goes about making laws just the way it wants, and meanwhile we are all here and we are all part of society, and we are all one way or the other trying to build a society.
Exactly.
So why should the laws be made only to suppress and suppress, as it were? And are there can bring a balance in the whole thing?
Well, the interesting thing is the Dutch government is looking for the EU possibilities also to restrict.
Yeah.
And there are some interpretation possibilities because also on the EU level, the governments have the responsibility to take care of their own immigration system.
Yeah.
I just explained about the example of the fee. It's going to change because of this High Court decision.
Yeah.
On the same way, there has been a lot of developments where the Dutch government had to change their policy because it was not in accordance with the EU law. So also with these new matters, it will take maybe a few years, but at the end it has to be in accordance with the human rights treaties. If it's not the case, of course, but these are just plans. It's an introduction that they want to restrict. But how they're going to put it in law and how they will, facilitate it, it's not clear yet. So there will be enough possibilities to ask critical questions about it on the court level if it's not satisfying, of course.
Okay, and about the inburgerings, what's going to change then?
Yeah, that's not a part of the kabinetsplan, but that's just a new law. That's the new law, wet inburgering, which will apply from the 1st of January. And the law says it will be totally a responsibility of the individual to arrange and pass the exams. So they have to pay, the immigrant has to pay for their own courses. They have to pay for the exams and they have to arrange it by themselves. So the Dutch government is not getting the responsibility for it anymore, the facilitation anymore. And it has consequences for the stay permit.
Yes.
For,
is it possible I can call you back because I'm in the studio right now and I'm on air.
So you have to
I am on air. Can I call you back, please? Right.
And how much it's going to cost, I'm not sure. That's not clarified yet. But the importance is that you have to pass in 3 years, and it's your own responsibility.
So that starts from January 1 next year.
From all the people who have to qualify after that period. So people who are now having to, pass the inburgering exam, they can fall under the old rules.
All rules. Okay. Now, if there are people, so for those who are old comers, so to speak, would they also be required to start paying for themselves from 2000?
No, they will fall under the
old law still.
Yeah.
Okay. So the burden falls back on the newcomers.
Exactly.
Anyway, I want to thank you. I don't know whether you have any final remarks you want to give.
Well, maybe we were talking about the new cabinet plans. A few small details also, the restrictions we were talking about. Also, let's say to get the Dutch nationality, and now it's possible after 5 years or after 3 years if you have a Dutch partner. They want to change it to 7 years.
7 years. Is that a definite law now, or is it still under debate?
It's a plan. It's a plan. It's a suggestion. It's not definite for sure. Not definite yet. So there will be a lot of talk. And like this, a few other aspects. But we will keep up with the political developments.
Well, thank you so very much. Well, listeners, I would like to thank you for being here. And also, I want to thank Mr. Kilic for taking the time to be here. Thank you for being so much a vibrant part of the migrant community, and we truly appreciate you.
Yes.
We pray that you will continue to excel in your profession.
Thank you.
More and more.
Thank you.
I want to wish you a good day as well.
The same. Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, listeners, we've come to the end of today's program. We hope you enjoyed every bit of it. We will be looking forward to your reactions, your calls, your comments, and please do that. Go to our website, Radio Voice of Naija, and post a comment or something like that, or send us an email at voiceofnaija@life.com. Or if you prefer to call, just give us a call on 0684-6065.
And if they want to contact her,
0.
they can call us.
And if you want to reach Lawyer Kilic, you can give me a call. Give us a call and we'll pass on her contact information. We're not allowed to do that on air, so give us a call and we'll do that for you.